Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by Dan Bardell, Ty Bracey and Rob Warner. Ty and Rob will get to you in a sec. Dan, you need to leave relatively soon for this because we've done Tuesday Club Just and you've got baby responsibilities.
Yes.
So that trumps this, I guess. This episode is all about the Europa League Final, but back from the UK. And I don't mean this to be like, oh, I was there and you guys weren't. But I want to hear about your guys'... No, it's not that, I promise. I want to hear about your guys' experience because you got to see the parade and you went together as well. So I thought it'd be nice for us to talk about that. Dan, obviously you were wrestling with not going for, I don't know, a week or so. You thought you weren't going to watch it with your dad. Then you did watch it with him in the end. Like, what was the whole night like for you?
Obviously, as you just said, that like the turnaround's very quick. It's like unusual. You get to a cup final and like the turnaround is so quick, and I felt like I would have to rush into a decision. So I like made that decision at the Forest game as I was walking back to the car with my dad. I just said, I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay at home and watch it with you. I think it's the right thing to do, and I still do think it was absolutely the right thing to do. And I've had loads of people who I don't know message me telling me I did the right thing. Like you might not ever get to do that again with your dad. So I'm at kind of ease with the decision I made. But there were definitely times, even when I'm sat there watching it, and Ty came to mine and watched it with me and my dad and my family and another friend as well, Martin. I was sitting there watching the game thinking, oh God, this must be absolutely incredible to be at. So although I wouldn't change it, and look, I've got to see Villa lift a trophy with my dad in a different way to maybe what I was expecting 10 years ago when he would have been able to go to any final that we got to. Like, we've still had that moment together. We've had that photo, me, him, and my baby, like her in a Villa kit. Like, we'll always have that memory and always have that photo to look back on. So there was like moments where I regretted it and thought, what have you done that for? Certainly in the last 7 days when he's been a real pain and I'm having to look after him more than usual. Like, I've thought, I should have gone to Istanbul. He's doing my head in. But I did the right thing.
Yeah, obviously you got to see it on TV as well. So even like the experience of watching the actual game is different. Like, you'd have seen all the build-up and replays and stuff and interviews after. Like, we didn't get to see any of that. I'm really kind of laying it on
so hard for you
about how good it was to see a replay. Yeah, we had little TVs in the back of the seats ahead of us, but that didn't work. So rubbish, really. I'd rather have stayed at home.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'd forgotten that you'd watched it with Ty as well. Ty, you were sniggering away during that. Did you enjoy it at Bardell's?
I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at the light on Rob's face. It looks like Jesus was ready to take him.
No, I feel like it as well. I've just watched the drive today. I think that's what it is. Like, I have the last ounce of energy is going to leave my body during this podcast, and I'll just disappear off the screen.
It was different. There was a few reasons for me, and I don't want this to be a reasons I didn't go to Istanbul podcast. First thing is, I don't think I've ever publicly spoke about. I have a really, really terrible fear of flying. First problem. I have an ADHD issue with myself where keeping still and long waits are things that I'm not very good at. Secondly. Thirdly, my passport's out of date. Fourth one, I have a newborn baby. And the fifth one, I got a ticket from the ballot. So I had said, okay, I'll go on a flight, not a problem. But it was one of those things for me where I wanted more than anything to go, but the stars didn't align. I started a new job not long ago, and I had to use annual leave because I didn't qualify for paternity leave. So I've got no annual leave left. So I would have had to take it unpaid. It was just everything that told me to go. Yeah, it didn't. The stars didn't align. And then a few of my mates who are also dads who I sit with at the Villa who have been season ticket holder for the longest time, half of them went and half of the ones with kids didn't. So I made the grown-up decision, and I might never see it again. However, you guys should know, Mr. Optimistic here, which I have been through my entirety of you guys knowing me, this isn't going to be the only time we're going to see Villa in a cup final. So,
yeah, of course.
And it's not going to be the only trophy we're going to win. So there will be other times. And there's a good chance I'm going to go to Austria. So
nice.
Stars aligning for that one. But yeah, it was a different experience for me watching it with the Bardells. More so that every time we scored, and I've got a big gob already, it would be met with a scream and then the baby. So, it was a scream quickly followed by let's not wake up Dan's daughter. So, but, it's who you watch it with. It's the company, isn't it, really, more than anything? I mean, of course, we can sit here in hindsight and talk about how I made a mistake and I should have gone there. However, watching it with one of your best friends and their family, I'm not good. I'm not good.
And one of your best mates was there as well. Who was that then?
Dan's wife, Jen. We get on great.
Good. So we're going to fast forward quickly to the parade as well, which obviously for those who maybe don't know, that was on the Thursday, the following day. Was it 4 o'clock or something? Weren't many people.
3, I think.
There weren't many people who would have gone to Istanbul that would also have done the parade. There will be
a few, you know.
There will be a few, that got early flights out and made it. But there'll be thousands who weren't able to. But me and Kendrick were speaking, and obviously we got no choice but to kind of be at peace with it. But it was like, well, look, we were there, and the ones that weren't in Istanbul, that they at least get the parade to kind of take in as well. So, you know, it is what it is. What was that experience like as well?
Look, it was brilliant. I think you're right that he did give the people a chance who weren't there to feel a bit more a part of it. Like, if there's no parade, I probably don't feel as much of a part of it as I do today. And Ty and I met about 3 o'clock, I think, and Adam Wright was meeting. I don't know whether you were meeting already, Rob. I assume you
No,
were.
I think I found the best spot in the whole of Birmingham.
You really did.
And put it into the group.
We may as well have been on the bus. We were that close.
Yeah, we were so close.
And then next thing, you could smell the booze on Tyrone Mings' breath. We were so close.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And then as soon as I put it in the group chat, I was just mobbed with everybody who'd seen the picture and was within 20 miles of Birmingham, asked me to save them a seat. So, did the honourable thing, didn't I?
Adam Wright showed me where he was, sent me a picture, and I was like, Ty, I think we should probably go here because I don't think we're going to get a better space than this. So we went down, and it was great to be with Rob and Ty and Adam Wright and his dad as well, because Adam was in the same situation as me. Like, he decided not to go and stay and watch.
So his dad's ending his season ticket, isn't he, for next year?
Yeah, he's not.
So they've had their last game together now.
Yeah, so but his dad was able to come to the parade, so they got to watch it together and got to catch up with him and be with them. And it was a really good atmosphere, like just floods of claret and blue around town. I ran round afterwards and to Centenary Square to like listen to the speeches, and I was bloody miles away from where anything was happening. But Rob's right, when we were on the balcony, and I've watched the footage back, it felt like the bus absolutely sped by, and it was like over in a second. When I watched the footage back, actually, the bus was going fairly slow, but I had visions of like Austin McPhee seeing me on the balcony and giving me the thumbs up, or the Prince William giving me the Prince William fist bumps. But none of that happened. I don't think any of the players.
He did. He pointed. He said, "Look, there's that knobhead, Dan Bardell."
Yeah, there's that knob that does podcasts. But it was great. Look, it was great to see the players and the fans come together, because I've never seen anything like that before. I don't even know in 1996 when we won the League Cup. I don't even know.
I don't remember anything like that. No, I did. Yeah. The only thing I can remember, I'll show my age now, is that
during the war.
Yeah, when I fought the war. After we got promoted from the old second division, and we played away at Swindon, and my dad took me up to Villa Park to meet the team bus as it arrived back at Villa Park at the back.
Okay, that's nice.
So that was the closest we got to a reception. I suppose you don't have a reception for finishing second when you wear claret and blue, do you? Leave that to lesser teams. But I certainly don't remember anything in 94 or 96.
No, man.
Right, Dan, I'm going to let you go. We're approaching bedtimes for children across the country, so I'll let you go and do what you need to do.
I fell asleep on Ty's sofa earlier, so...
I've had a heavy day as well. I almost fell asleep this afternoon.
The only reason Dan nearly fell asleep on my sofa was because he ate more bread than we all have ever. He had 2 burgers and 2 hot dogs. Honestly, absolute monster. Too much bread, that is.
Tuesday Club on 1874 on Tuesday, tomorrow, or whenever this video is going out. Go and have a look at that as well.
Yeah, it's very good.
See you later, mate.
Bugger off then. You're just going to leave your camera there running. What's this about? Brilliant. Jesus Christ, absolute amateur hour. Right, we're going to carry on as a 3 for another 15 minutes or so. We did the Tuesday Club, we did it before this, so I've been stood in here for the last 40 minutes, absolutely sweating my bits off. Rob, your experience of the game then, you weren't at the Bardells, you must have missed the invite for that. What was your, where did you take it in?
So I went to the Istanbul ring
nice.
and watched it there. So was looking for somewhere family friendly. I really wanted to watch it with my little girl. Ideally, I would have loved to have taken her across to Istanbul for it. I only had access at the time to one ticket. I feel like I'm justifying myself here, but pretty much every game I've been to for the last 3 years at Villa Park, I've been to with her. And it just felt like the event would really cement her love of Villa, and that turned out to be true. She's 10 years old. She was super nervous throughout the game. We met up with it was mad the way the whole Villa Twitter community came together as well, like in the build up to the game, looking for venues and who's going where. Met up with a guy called Ed Guerra, and his missus and his daughter's only a little bit older than Amelia, so that was class. She had like a little mate to watch it with, and then at the final whistle, she's like jumped up on me because I wasn't sure if it was all a bit like, oh, how much does she really love the football? She just get carried away with the vibe, but at the final whistle, she's dived on me and she's going, "We've done it, Dad. We've done it. We've done it." And she's crying her eyes out. Hey, I would have loved to have been there, but in hindsight, I wouldn't rather have been there.
Yeah, absolutely. The way that everyone I've spoken to so far, and obviously it's easy for me to say I was there. Of course, I wouldn't change it. I've seen my dad since, who I kind of left behind, if you like, and would we have liked to watch it together? Of course. But I can't sit there and say, yeah, Dad, I'd rather come to the warehouse with you. Like, of course, I'm not going to do that. But everyone, I think, at least who I've spoken to, whatever their story is of Wednesday night, I think it's because we won, obviously. They're happy with it. However it turned out, whoever you watched it with, whatever your experience was, I haven't heard anyone say, yeah, we won, I'm glad, but I wish I did this instead. Like, I think everyone's at peace with the decisions that they made leading up to that moment. You guys obviously had the parade as well. Anything extra to share to what Dan said about it?
Rob got sunburn.
Bad as well, actually.
Yeah. Mate, he sent me a photo with an ice pack on his head the morning after.
Dangerous, isn't it, at the minute?
It was bad, and it's not because I was drinking, because I had to drive back up to Stockport after the thing. The original plan was, because we stayed at the Frederick Street townhouse in the Jewellery Quarter for the match, and woke up the next morning and my mom's texted me like, "Oh, here's the route they're doing the parade today." So I've had a look at it. It's coming right outside our hotel, and it's attached to the Button Factory pub. It's all part of the same thing, and they've got the roof terrace. So we looked outside, and I was like, "Well, if we're sitting up there, the bus will literally be like 20 feet away from us." So Amelia was like, "Right, well, we've got to do that then. Oh, can we get Wi-Fi so I don't get bored?" Because it was like 12 o'clock. I was like, "We're going to be sitting there for 4 hours." But obviously hadn't planned on being out in the sunshine. Got home and like took my Aston Bull t-shirt off, and I just looked like a matchstick. Wasn't good, man.
Excellent.
Seen the pictures of Centenary Square. I mean, it must have been an amazing atmosphere, but as much as where we were, there wasn't loads of people, and lots of opposition fans have taken great delight in seeing the pictures where the streets weren't as busy right at the start of the parade. But no, it was class, because it really was. That we were just so close to it. Centenary Square was great, and it was just nice to see so many people who perhaps wouldn't ordinarily engage with Villa as well were there to see it and be part of it. As far as I'm aware, it went off without any problems. It was great, considering it was hastily arranged. I mean, they did well to get that bus sprayed up between 10 o'clock the night before and Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sure that was in a garage somewhere for maybe all season, who knows. Ty, did that make it feel any more real to you, see the trophy go by? Because obviously we'd seen it the night before, and even that didn't feel real. Because you watched it at home, going to the parade like, oh yeah, this did happen.
Yeah, it was a unique experience. It's not something you experience every day, is it? It's first time in my lifetime. So yeah, it made it feel a little bit like I was more involved, if that's the right terminology. But it was, the weather was nice. We're at the Button Factory. sun was shining with good people, and it was good vibes. Everyone was in good spirits. There wasn't anyone too drunk being silly. It was just good vibes. And then even making our way down Centenary Square, it was just really nice as well down there. Everyone in good spirits. But yeah, where we was, echoing what Rob and Dan said, we were literally on top of the players. Like, they went past us probably like a metre distance, Rob, from the balcony to the bus.
Yeah, it wasn't far at all. It was crazy. It was almost, they were so close that, like you used the phrase, Dan, did it make it seem more real? And it actually seemed more surreal because they were so close.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow. Wow, that trophy's massive.
Yeah.
It is big.
No, it was class. It was thoroughly enjoyed.
Also, Ty, the last episode you did was the Villa Social preview that we did on the Sunday before the game that went out the day before.
Yeah,
and all of us predicted Villa to win. And I didn't speak to a single soul over there that said, "Oh, actually, you know what? I'm really nervous and think we might lose." Everyone thought we'd win, whether they believed it or not didn't matter. How did you feel about the actual game?
Yeah, I recorded a piece with Dan today, and I said it with Dan. I didn't feel any nerves. I didn't feel any nerves. I had nerves in the first leg against Forest, but from going into the second leg with Forest into the final, I was not nervous at all, which is really odd behaviour for me because I'm usually the first. If there's something at stake, my anxiety is through the roof. It doesn't take a lot to trigger my anxiety off, and it usually can take something simple like that, but I was confident. I was confident of us going into that second leg against Forest, and I was confident that we were going to win. But players aside, Unai Emery is a big game manager. He is, and we went there with a plan, and the plan worked. It was. I don't think I spoke to anybody who said, "Oh, I think it's going to be a close game." I think it was. The first 20 minutes it was a bit backwards and forwards, but But I'd say from 20 minutes on, there wasn't really anything of where I was like, "Oh God, that was close." It was pretty much full steam ahead, in confidence, which was a nice feeling. But a feeling I wasn't used to feeling so confident going into a game. But that was, it was nice to go into that and show that. And people could say, "Oh yeah, your net spend versus Freiburg, like it's just a load of nonsense. You only can beat her in front of you. We don't decide." Was it Braga who they beat in the semi-final? It could have been them if they didn't get a red card in the first 10 minutes of the second. Do you know what I mean? And
we'd have beat anyone that night.
Nobody mentioned net spend when we beat Forest in the semi-finals. They've signed like 140 players in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Like say, you can only beat what's there, and we beat them comprehensively. Rob, was it?
And also, let's not act like because they haven't spent a lot of money that they're some pub team. They battered Leipzig just as they
got to a final, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, we'll have put the frighteners up then by beating Liverpool, and the next day where were Leipzig in the Bundesliga third, I think, and they've put 4 past them. It was like, oh, okay.
Atmosphere was brilliant from both sides, but they were good in a classic kind of European way that you would expect, the kind of the constant noise. If they had scored first, it would have been a tricky game for us, but it just never got to that point. Rob, just to wrap up the game finally, because I only want to do kind of 25 minutes or so. Again, boiling in here. What goal was it that we scored where you thought, yeah, we've done it?
Second one, I think, really, because it was. I think everyone around us was like, okay, don't do anything stupid. Hold on to this until half time. And we were in control, but without going hell for leather. And then Wendy has pulled that worldie out. And I just remember walking around at half time, walking around the venue, and there was a couple of people that I spoke to and was like, it's happening. It is happening. I'm getting goosebumps now remembering saying it. I think I'd echo what Ty said about before the game. I was more nervous about how confident I was.
You set yourself up for a fall.
For 40 years, you kind of get to the point of like, you kind of hope for the best but expect the worst, don't you? And I was hoping for the best and expecting the best. And so at 2-0, I was like, I just can't see. I can't see how they overturn this, because to a man, every player in a Villa shirt, and we've not been able to say this in a lot of the big games that we've played over the last 3 years, but every man in a Villa shirt looked absolutely up for it and fully in control of their emotions and their ability on a football. And I don't think we should underestimate, which I don't think anybody has underestimated, the influence of having somebody like Lindelof in the midfield, where so calm, however old he is, 32 now, 31, 32, captain of Sweden, played on some of the biggest stages around the world. Just having people like that around the squad, and Martinez, who else would you want in goal before a game like that? Irrespective of, he might drop a clanger or whatever else. Imagine sitting there and looking at him. Somebody said to me before the game, I hope it doesn't go to penalties. And I was like, I bet Freiburg hope it doesn't go to penalties more than you do, because as much as we know we can miss them, you wouldn't want him standing there clarting about in front of you.
So. Yeah, I'd likened it to the playoff final a couple of times, that once we got past Albion, I thought we'd beat Derby. And once we got past Forest, I didn't know we'd beat Freiburg, but I was pretty confident. And as soon as we scored the first, I was like, okay, we're in a great position. And the second to come so quickly after, you could tell the vibe in the stadium was that away end or that Villa end, they know it's done. They're not serving alcohol, so it didn't empty out at half time. The chants continued all the way through. I think the Emi Buendia chant was on a loop for the whole of half time, and just got the sense of like, we all know that this is happening here. And we're only at half time and it's not won yet, but if we can get another, we should do it. And today is the day Aston Villa lift the trophy, and kind of knowing that's about, it's giving me goosebumps now talking about it, knowing that it's about to happen is like, wow, this is mad. We can now drink in the second half. To end then, I've heard a little a rumour from Utah that you two might be going into a partnership together. Well, go on, you explain. What's going on here?
So I've always been a part of somebody else's something when it comes to being on camera. And I've wanted to do it for a while, and this isn't me jumping on a bandwagon when Villa do well, because during people know that during our struggles, I sat through the Villa
still there,
yeah, exactly. So no one can throw that card at me, fortunately. But I've always wanted to do my own, and my wife's been kicking me up my backside to do what I love, and this is something that I love. And I've took a step back for a year or so, had some time out, and then I've done a few bits with you, Rollo, and then done one with Dan, and it's kind of ignited a fire for me. And Rob had a little chat last week, pulled him to one side on the parade when we were at the parade, and it was always who would I do it with, and then there was just this light bulb moment, kind of similar to how Rob
my head now. That was in the sun.
Rob just turned around.
Yeah, and Rob is extremely talented, and the silly bloke has agreed to start a podcast with me next year. So, nice. there's still a lot for us to work out, but it's definitely going to happen. There's a lot we have sorted out already. A name is not one of them. That's still up in the air. Rob wanted to put that to a public vote, but I strongly obliged.
Yeah.
But I want it to be fun. I want it to be light-hearted. There'll be plenty of comedy in there, unintentional, of course. And just let's talk Villa and just make everything a little bit light-hearted, not serious, and it feel like two mates having a chat. Thanks for the plug, brother.
Right, that'll do, gents. Thanks very much for joining me on this one, and to Bardell for doing the first couple of minutes as well. Appreciate your time. This is, I don't want to say it's the end of our Istanbul coverage, because there's still always room to talk about it, but I think we've probably finished most of it, bar one little feature, or a big feature that we've got hopefully coming out at the end of this week, certainly the weekend latest, I think. And then we're doing a live show on the 2nd of June. Tickets for that will be available soon, and we'll talk about that later in this week. So that'll be a week tomorrow as this goes out. And then we'll have a bit of a break for a few days, and then it'll be World Cup and transfers and who should we sell, who should we buy, all that kind of stuff. But kind of draw a line under this season and then start looking forward a bit. So plenty to come on Claret and Blue throughout the summer. We don't just disappear till August now. There's plenty to talk about. So Ty, Rob, Dan, thank you for joining me on this one, and we'll see you again on Wednesday, probably. Up the Villa, everyone. We'll see you soon.